And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Sam Sprill, who writes, "Greetings, John and Rob. Black Widow director Cate Shortland recently did an interview with Deadline saying two interesting things. Firstly, hinting at a potential Black Widow sequel and that the movie could open with $80 to $90 million domestic box office. My question is, what do you think the chances of these two things happening?" All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. Appreciate that. And yeah, listen, there are a couple things to note here about that interview. The first thing to note is that, let's talk about this one first, was the fact that she was saying there's a possibility this thing could maybe get, I don't know, something in the neighborhood of, let's say, how much did she say? $80 to $90 million. Well, she's not wrong about that, actually. She's actually completely right about that. As a matter of fact, the official box office projections are projecting exactly that, somewhere in the neighborhood of $80 to $90 million opening, which would be profound because it would mean it would replace Fast 9 as the new biggest opening since Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, like the biggest opening in the post-pandemic era. Now, F9 set a very high bar, all things considered, with like a $70 million opening. Can Black Widow accomplish that? Absolutely it can. Even with it being with their ridiculous Disney Plus pay us $30 premium charge to sit and just watch it at home on your ass. That's fine. It still looks like it's going to make $80 to $90 million, which would be completely impressive in and of itself. This comes to us from the folks over at Deadline who writes, this is the director Shortland talking about it playing on Disney Plus and what she thought about it playing on Disney Plus. And I love her answer here. She says, well, we made this film to be seen in cinemas. And it's not so much seen in cinemas, it's felt in cinemas because we created the sound and the music and just the huge, beautiful spectacle that was to be seen on a big screen. So, as a director, I want people, if they're safe, to see it in that environment. But I know some people can't for a lot of different reasons, pandemic and also a lot of other reasons as well. So it's really cool that other people will still get to see the movie. I appreciate her answering that, but I also love her forthrightness as a director saying, look, we made this movie specifically to be seen on the big screen. And obviously she's kind of bummed out about the Disney Plus decision, but hey, she understands there's certain situations and contexts in the world right now. I get that. Now, in talking about a sequel, they asked her directly, do you think we could see a sequel to this? Now, I know not everybody has seen this movie. It hasn't come out yet officially. I have seen it. But still, you guys know the context of Black Widow and what's gone on with Black Widow in the MCU. And you know where she is right now in terms of the MCU. She's dead. Anyway, but they asked her this question. Do you think there will ever be a sequel to Black Widow? To which the director said, I think these girls have a lot of asses still to kick. I think the girls still have a lot of asses to kick. Now, look, you don't have to have seen the movie, Rob, to know that Black Widow has to be alive by the end of the movie because she's alive in Infinity War. And you all know that by the end of Endgame, she's dead. So for the director to say that, it makes me wonder, did she just say something she's not supposed to say? Did they just lay the groundwork that they have plans for Scarlett Johansson to come back? Because she didn't just say, I think this girl, talking about the sister, Pugh, playing Yelena. She says, I think these girls still have a lot of asses to kick. So I don't know. Maybe she just spilled the beans a little bit that Feige's planning on. But Rob, this is the Marvel Cinematic fake death universe. Of course, nobody stays dead. So we just kind of assume they're all coming back. Anyway, Rob, what do you think about these two? Well, actually, three things that she's saying. Number one, her desire as a director to see her film on the big screen. Number two, the fact that she believes this movie will break the $80 to $90 million on opening weekend, which would be a very, very impressive feat today. And number three, her saying that she believes there's a possibility we could get a Black Widow sequel, seemingly suggesting that Scarlett Johansson could be a part of it. Anyway, Rob, you hear all these things. What do you make of it?
I think they're all true. I think that obviously it will depend on the performance of the movie, but I even saw Kevin Feige on the red carpet. Ash Croson, is that how you pronounce the last name? She was interviewing Feige for about 5 minutes and asked about that. And he was particularly tight-lipped about the idea of doing a sequel. Obviously, it was Scarlett Johansson who brought in the director They had a really great opportunity to make that movie. She was a producer on it. And look, if the movie does well, hey, why not get paid? Tell one more story in that time frame. I mean, it would be really interesting to see where that franchise could go. I would love to see what happened between Black Widow. I don't know if they deal with this in the movie, but when Hawkeye became Ronin during the snap, I think there's a really interesting story there to tell what happened between Black Widow and Hawkeye. But if the movie does well, why not make a sequel? I think it is going to make $100 million. I think a lot of people are excited to see it. It looks, I've heard pretty good things about it. There's been some dissenters, but for the most part, I think it's probably going to be pretty good. And I think they could make a sequel to it. Why not? It would be a win-win-win all around for everybody, I think, if people like the film. So, hey, why not? Why not, John?
I liked it. I mean, I don't think it's top shelf MCU. I don't think it's like I don't think it's Winter Soldier. I don't think it's the original Avengers. I don't think it's top shelf of MCU, but it's good. My biggest problem with it was I didn't think the villain was all that great. Like the Taskmaster villain and the Ray Winstone villain really weren't anything to write home about. I thought they were a little bit of a waste, but the strengths of the film seem to overcome that for me. I particularly love David Harbour in this. I loved David Harbour, and this is Red Guardian. I really, really did. So overall, I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Now, if you had told me a while ago that a Black Widow would open to more than a Fast and the Furious movie, I would have said no way. But I mean, it looks like that might be the case. Do you think they could do a sequel? Are you interested in this film? Whatever it is you guys are thinking, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys,